Hello, and welcome to the Nebraska Department of Education School Safety Video Series. This video series will consist of 7 short video vignettes, anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes in length, that can be watched by school staff members as individuals or can be watched by school teams together. Today's topic is the climate connection. Other topics in this series will include school climate data in action, school safety, it begins with us, the behavior bond, links to mental health, optimization of youth voice, and school safety and student success. My name is Heather Robbins, and I'll be your guide throughout this video series. We want you to know that in all of our sessions, our focus will be on prevention, because prevention is the key to school safety. Today's topic is the climate connection. We hope that by the end of our short time together, you're able to discover why school climate is important for school safety, that you'll determine how you'll share this information with your staff, and you'll develop a plan to assess school climate on your campus. We're going to use Simon Sinek's The Golden Circle as our guide. If you're unfamiliar with the Golden Circle, I'd suggest that you go to Google and Google Simon Sinek's TED Talk on the Golden Circle. Essentially, what Simon Sinek says is that we're very good in business, in school, in life, at telling people what to do and how to do it. But often folks don't know why we're doing what we do. And as a result, what we do does not have as much impact. When folks know why they're doing what they do, then their what and how have much more purpose, power, and impact. So we're going to take Simon Sinek's advice and we're going to start with the why. So why are we here talking about school climate when our overarching subject area is school safety? Well, there's a wealth of research available on the connections between school climate and school safety. I'm just going to share a few nuggets with you today. A positive school climate is associated with pro-social behavior from students on our campuses, motivation for achieving in school, healthy self-esteem, effective conflict resolution skills in students, and increased teacher retention and reduced burnout of particular concern this school year. On the flip side, an unhealthy school climate is associated with school absenteeism, truancy, bullying and aggressive behaviors on our campuses, suspension, expulsion, and exclusionary practices, and dropout risk. We're going to take a moment to take a look at a quote from Protecting America's Schools, a U.S. Secret Service analysis of targeted school violence. The foundation of school safety rests in creating cultures and climates of safety, respect, and emotional support. This is one of the key recommendations for preventing egregious acts of violence on our campuses. Tangible steps can be taken to reduce the likelihood that any student would cause harm or be harmed at school. And one of those tangible steps is to focus on and improve our school climate. So let's take a moment to reflect on what is school safety. I'd like for you to grab a sticky note or a sheet of paper and a pen, and I'd like you to take a moment and think, when you hear the word school safety, what thoughts come to mind? And just jot a few notes. If you're an individual, just do this by yourself. If you're in a room with a team, everybody do it individually first. Jot your own notes about what you think of the word school safety, and then share with each other what you wrote. So I'm going to ask you to please pause the video while you do this activity, and then we'll return in a moment. Pause the video, we'll return in a moment. Welcome back. So I'm going to imagine that if you were in a team, you might have had different perspectives of what the word school safety mean. If you had a school resource officer on your team, they might have written words that had a lot to do with campus security. If you had a counselor on your team, they might have written words that had to do with relationships and connectedness. If you had a cafeteria staff member on your team, they might have thought about things like food safety and temperature of the freezer, right? We have differing perspectives of what school safety is, and there is no universal definition of school safety. However, according to the National Center on Safe and Supportive Learning Environments, school safety is Schools and school-related activities where students are safe from violence, bullying, harassment, and substance abuse. Now, this tells us what schools are safe from, but it doesn't tell us what school safety is. So our first action step for you today will be to say, what is school safety? What do those words mean? How do you define it on your campus so you know what you're talking about on your campus? What is school safety to you on your campus? What about school climate? Well, there are two regularly recognized definitions of school climate. The first one comes from the National School Climate Center. School climate refers to the quality and character of school life. It's based on patterns of students, parents, and school personnel's experience of school life and reflects norms, goals, and values, interpersonal relationships, teaching and learning practices, and organizational structures on our campuses. The U.S. Department of Education defines school climate as the extent to which a school community creates and maintains a safe school campus, a supportive academic, disciplinary, and physical environment, and respectful, trusting, and caring relationships throughout the school community. Now, the National School Climate Center has identified 5 broad domains of school climate. The first one is safety, physical safety, social and emotional safety, rules, and norms. The next is relationships, school connectedness and engagement, social support, leadership, respect for diversity, students' race and ethnicity, and perceptions. The third broad domain is teaching and learning, social, emotional, ethical, civic learning, service learning, support for academic learning, support for professional relationships, as well as teachers' and students' perceptions of the climate. The fourth broad domain is the institutional environment itself, physical surroundings, resources, supplies, materials available on our campus. And the fifth domain is the school improvement process itself. Are we implementing evidence-based practices on our campuses? We're going to take a moment to delve in domain number 2, relationships. And we're going to look at school connectedness in particular. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention defines school connectedness as the belief by students that adults and peers care about their learning as well as about them as individuals, as people. School connectedness is a protective factor. Youth who feel connected at school and at home are as much as 66% less likely to experience health risk behaviors related to sexual health, substance use, violence, and mental health in adulthood. School connectedness has been found to buffer against the effects of a negative home environment and emotional distress. From a targeted violence prevention plan at the National Threat Assessment Center, there's the following actionable step. Create and promote a safe school climate built on a culture of safety, respect, trust, and emotional supports for students. Encourage communication, intervene in conflicts and bullying, and empower students to share their concerns. Also, if you're doing threat assessment on your campus, I'd suggest that you take a look at the Nebraska K-12 Threat Assessment Guidance document, which is an excellent resource and tool to support you in your threat assessment process. Trust is key. Trust is key to prevention of egregious acts of violence on our campus. When there is trust amongst staff members and amongst students and between staff members and students, we are much more able to prevent any egregious act of violence on our campus. Trust is key. Well, how do we build a climate conducive to school safety? The first thing we need to do is measure our current school climate. Measuring school climate can help us understand what was, what is, so that we can move forward to what could be. So how do we measure that? Well, we really want to use valid and reliable school climate measures. And here are some that are valid, reliable, and also free. There's the New Jersey School Climate Survey. You can find that online, and it's available to folks nationally, not just folks in New Jersey. There's the Victoria Bernhardt School Questionnaire, which many folks in Nebraska may have used. So you may already have that information from the Victoria Bernhardt School Questionnaire. There's Panorama School Climate Survey questions. If you go to the Panorama website, you have to pay for Panorama to analyze the data, but they offer you the questions from the survey for free and you're able to use them. And the Department of Education has an amazing school climate survey. It is lengthy, but there are some incredible questions there. And you may want to dive into that and look at questions that relate to your definition of school safety. So make sure that when you're thinking about what climate assessment you'd like to use, it's directly related to the definition that you created of school safety. Now, here's your action steps for today. What does school safety mean on your campus? Come up with a short, brief definition of what school safety is. Earlier, I shared a definition with you of what school safety isn't, but what about what it is? Also, how will you provide school staff members some professional development on the climate and safety connection and why we're talking about climate when our topic is safety? And finally, we'd like for you to select and administer a school climate survey. Today, we hope that you discovered why school climate is important for school safety, that you've talked about how you will share this information with your staff, and that you've developed a plan to assess school climate on your campus. We look forward to seeing you at the next School Safety Video Series vignette. Thank you.